Chilly regards and a warm greeting to you. This is Johnny Lichka on the 25th of January 2021, attempting now to address the Sattva definition issue. I want to start by making an accusation against you, whomever you might be listening. I suspect that most likely you're a staff member of Nemitta, and this applies to even visitors and even the main professor himself. My accusation is that you are loading your conversations with too much content. Now, by my standards, a good conversation does not have to devote itself solely to one topic. A good conversation may include 3 or 4 topics, and perhaps even 5, but I would say no more than that. Once you go beyond 5 or 6, you're going to want to designate some more time to having a dedicated conversation to carry on the mind stream in other directions, such that you can remain focused when you are addressing certain issues, especially issues and investigations that involve going into the unknown, or rather bringing novel topics into consideration, statements and ideas that have not yet been discussed. And there is always an issue that the audience will defer to antiquated ideas. You might be trying to say something new to someone, and they may presume that you're talking about something that is old and something that they've heard before and something that they know all about. Well, I'm feeling a little bit of that frustration in the desire to want to cogently, clearly, and lucidly elaborate upon new material in a way that best benefits the audience. And there's a bit of reticence, I can say, even for my viewership, as small as it is, and I can't disregard it at all. Yet I find sometimes my points are not getting through clearly. And that's something I'm coming to accept. In any case, I can't go back and redo what I would say was less than presentable, although I may in the future. But for now, a big topic is on my mind. And this is the subject of Sattva, which is a Sanskrit term meaning rhythm. Following what you might call the Socratic procedures for having and maintaining a conversation, there is a challenge that you and I have to face regarding provisional definitions. You see, if we're going to talk about anything, you and I have to be on the same page. Not permanently. We do not seek permanent definitions in this investigative state. We're not looking for permanent and solid definitions. We're just looking for provisional definitions, which includes basically you and I making compromises to what we feel and believe, and working with when we use a term, we don't use it in 10 different senses at once, which, especially in the English language, you'll find often that mandate or flaw, a word like flaw may have 5 or 6 definitions, and it's not appropriate or effective to jump between one definition to another, and to take something that someone says in one sense and then to apply it in a secondary or third sense. That is chaotic, and what I wish to quash, what I'm attempting to. Well, you see, so far I'm not satisfied, and this may be a personal issue. You can call me out on that. I'm not satisfied with Lash's handling of the topic of sattva. I do not feel that he has made a succinct provisional definition. Well, instead of complaining about it, I'm here to offer you one for what it's worth. Now, making one more disclaimer here, and when it comes to this subject in particular, I guess that I want to say that the most effective way of getting to the bottom of this issue would be to pose a question to the organic light. A question such as the statement, "Show me how sattva works in the human animal," or "Show me what sattva is in the human genome or the anthropine genome. What is the Rome sattva? What is sattva to her?" You might pose it in the secondary person. What's sattva to you, Sophia? Well, I don't have access to the organic light, or I cannot contact it. I've never made the claim to be able to. And thus far, I've only met 2 people who've made that claim. And I feel that's important if we're talking about gnosis or the Sophianic vision. It's important to make that claim or that disclaimer. And in any case, what I'm speaking about sattva comes from my experience and observations and analysis of the tonal. The tonal, the mundane, which sattva pervades. There is rhythm in the mundane. There is rhythm, and it's a powerful force. It's a powerful element in the world, even in the mundane world. Consider a waterfall. If you've ever stood in the presence of a waterfall, there you will experience its sattva. Sattva, a Sanskrit term meaning rhythm. Environments vibrate with rhythm. They contain the total rhythm, which radiates as its signature. The total rhythm of an area calibrates the interrhythms of individuals who are within that area, and those internal rhythms modulate the total rhythm. Symbiosis. Observe in terms of rhythmic exchange. You know what rhythm is, something both observable and demonstrable. What rhythm works itself on you? The one that currently surrounds you. How it works on you depends on your operational calibration. The calibration of your internal rhythm can develop over years of exposure, and there is always an exchange, appreciation, annoyance, pleasure, destruction, identity, push, pull. In you it builds something, or it breaks something. How do you calibrate your sattva? Listen. It happens autogenically through what you eat, do, say, look at, and in all the sounds, vibrations that surround you. New Orleans has a signature sattva. Paris, Honolulu, a Neapolitan cafe carries sattva. So do the harbors of Friendship, Maine, Mount Fuji, the boundary waters, the desert. Where you immerse yourself, you are calibrated. You are involved with this sattvic exchange by degrees of choice and selection. Growing up, perhaps you chose to follow rock music, or you got into fusion jazz. Even now, you can decide to immerse yourself in something like Spanish flamenco, though archontically with a set of headphones. Listen and watch flamenco song and dance for days on end until you find yourself capable of clapping along the proper palmas. Music is but one powerful module of sattva. You can also calibrate your sattva with the sounds of nature. Mama Sattva. Her rhythms are the most inspiring and healing. For the power of self-regulation in nature is strong. All of the great cultures root themselves in her rhythms. Their music reflects the sounds of nature, be it the Japanese sakura or Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. Opposite to all this is rhythmic pollution. Gangster rap is deliberate rhythmic pollution. The sound of jackhammers, traffic, police and ambulance sirens, television, and movie dialogue is rhythmic pollution. You can include college lectures, Discovery Channel info documentaries, experts who talk finance or politics. This generates sound that rattles in the audience's bodies. They repeat, reiterate enthusiasm, and speak as salesmen, spokespersons for products and investments that they do not touch or encounter and know almost nothing but hear ample about. Rhythmic pollution disturbs sattva. It disturbs and defines / dominates total sattvas in cities and spaces the citizens make their own. It works on the human animal to make him deaf, condition him to discord rather than harmony, and therefore cause him to experience low achievement, to high frustration in life. But the mute factor of deafness is the tool to eliminate rhythmic pollution selectively from your environment. Many times I want to isolate myself, to be surrounded by the sounds of wild nature. She I return to with clear and open ears, and to let her silence cleanse. Fortunately, one animal need carry only one rhythm. Though it might be dynamic and intricate, it need only suffice as to guide the life of one animal. Can you live your sovereign life with the optimal sattva? As part of sattvic exchange, your rhythm becomes an instrument in the orchestra, and you in turn return the full and expanded beauty of your environment's total sattva. It calibrates yours, you modulate it. Well, I feel that is an attempt to define or outline the issue with Sattva's calibration. See, what I'm saying is that it's not something you consciously do. It's something that automatically takes place all the time, depending on your surroundings. Your internal sattva is calibrated by the sattva around you, including the energy, the sounds. You say you had up the street, you could hear within earshot down the street 2 Italian women arguing about their husbands and getting real heated and loud about that. If that comes into your space, within your earshot, that too works to affect your sattva. And something like that might be a daily occurrence. It can be something as distorting as the sound of a refrigerator humming. Which is why my suggestion, or what I would prefer for myself, and I have the capacity and the agency to do this, I can just retreat into nature where she determines the sattva, where she determines the activities and the sounds around me. And you learn from her the techniques and the rhythms that are optimal to your life. Now, I also covered a little bit here on the theme of a flaw, F-L-A-W. And instead of using this word, flaw, I want to propose a specific meaning to it. The flaw factor is nothing more than deviance or deviation, going against or altering the norm. The reason this element is included in the calibration is novelty. This is, for example, how new genres of music are formed. By slight but reasonable deviation from traditional guiding rhythms. The potential comes with great risk. However, it is worth the reward of novel modifications. And here I cite the example of fusion jazz, which is a derivation from classical jazz, which is a derivation, or you can consider it a derivation, from blues music. And this even goes into the realm of technology. Lash brought to our minds the image of the friendship sloop. Well, the friendship sloop, or sloops in general, were modified from sailboats, from traditional sailboats, and those themselves were modified from rowboats and more primitive boats. You see, the payoff is innovation, and you can't have innovation without leeway. I want to leave you with a small parable. Let's say that you were a trumpet player that comes from a family of trumpet players in a little village where they celebrate trumpet playing. And you had a son. But you're a well-meaning character, and you allow your son to develop and explore. And when it comes his time to join the band, he brings with him not a trumpet, but a new horn, one which you've never seen before, a French horn. Now this is a strange modification, initially you might take, from the original trumpet, why it curves around and the buttons and levers are laid differently, and it's played differently, and produces a different sound. But instead of rejecting this new innovation, you are overjoyed to hear something new, and there is a harmony. There is a way that he can join the band, playing along with his French horn. Now, his son comes along and comes of age, and it becomes his turn to join the band. And he brings along this ginormous horn, which is nothing like anything you've ever seen. It's a tuba. And I might get flack from musicians for saying that the tuba is like the long-lost grandson of the trumpet. In a way, you can see it that way. In any case, he's got this huge tuba that wraps around his body, and there may be initial apprehension among the tribe. They might say, well, how are you supposed to carry that thing? You have enough energy to properly play it? Are you going to get tired? This is a marching band. And yet, despite all the opposition, you see that he marches along just fine and adds something new, adds a new dynamic to the total ensemble. Well, that's all I have for you, and I feel that it should suffice for now. Anyone that wishes to challenge, please do. I would love to hear what you have to say. And again, I would also just love to hear you talk. There is quite a tremendous difference between writing and speaking. And I feel speaking is often a more effective. It's a more primal. There is emotion in it. Whereas writing can just be an assemblage of random words. Well, you tell me. In any case, that's Sattva. You know what it is. It's present in your life. It's present in your body. There's also deviation, or rather modification, leniency, breaking away from Sattva, playing the offbeat, and coming up with new beats and new rhythms. And the purpose of that is to allow for innovation. There is a risk with deviation, but the payoff is innovation. Well, I leave you with that forgotten slogan from the old Radio Gaia-Nim broadcasts. Be mysterious, but keep it real.